I don't think there's anything that the coaching staff can do to figure this out for Hoglander. I think we're past that point. Dare I say we're past the point of no return with Nils Höglander, where it's just like he has to get moved at this point.
We're trending towards that.
I'm there.
Direction.
I'm there.
He's got to figure it out himself, but he 100% has the talent and skill set to do it. So onus and responsibility is on him to have that consistent work ethic, to show those details away from the puck, because the bar is really low. I mean, we saw both Carlson and Phil DiGiuseppe in the lineup last night. There is no world in which Hoglander, over a stretch of however long you want to pick, shouldn't clearly outperform those guys with the track record that he's shown in the NHL.
But the points this season, hey, if you give Linus Karlsson 31 games, he might be able to get the same number of points as Nils Höglander, just by existing.
Sure, but over the next 30 games...
And I'm not taking away from your point. Yeah. I'm just saying that, man, I'm trying to illustrate just how bad Nils Höglander's been this year. And that's why I think we're at that point now where it's... And people in the chat saying, well, Nils Höglander has 0 trade value. Okay, he also has 0 value to the team right now. You're getting to that point. And I'm there. I'm there at that point where I'm looking at it and saying, a team like Buffalo, if they come around and say, hey, we'll give you whatever for Nils Höglander, and it's something that you think might either help you in a future trade or it's going to be something of value to you, okay, if it comes down to Nils Höglander for a third pairing defenseman who's, better than Noah Juulsen and can probably play with Carson Soucy on that second pair right now. I know there's a lot of people, the Canucks have enough third pairing defensemen. Okay, well, a 4-5. If you have a 4-5 on the table, not a 6-7, which is what they have playing in their top 4 right now. If you have a 4-5 on the table for Nils Höglander, so yes, a guy who's going to play in your second or third pairing, if that's on the table for Nils Höglander, you have to take that at this point.
Yeah, but I don't think you're getting that.
Fair point.
Especially on the right side. I mean, what number 4 or 5 defenseman? We just saw Borgen go. We just saw Carrier go.
Yeah. Well, the Carrier price... Carrier, Justin Barrett sucks.
Sure, but you also didn't want to fit Carrier's contract.
That's true.
Beyond this season, if you're being realistic.
Well, you definitely don't want to fit Hoglander's at $3 million beyond this season in Vancouver. It's not an option. That's why I'm saying we're at this point. It's not an option at this point to just hope that he figures it out. It's not going to work.
I mean, why is it not? He kind of has to.
Are you planning on?
He has no trade value right now.
Harmon's on fire Tocchet, I guess, because he's definitely not figuring it out with Tocchet as the coach.
I mean, he had success last year. It's not as if he's never had any success with his head coach.
So what's going to get it going for Nils Höglander?
Okay. So this is the issue, right? When a player is at the lowest ebb of his trade value, everybody wants to get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to get rid of him.
The plan's simple.
Nobody has any
trade
patience.
the bad players for good ones.
And then when the player's succeeding, then everybody's like, "Oh, can't trade this guy." How many times have we been through this in the market? And I'm not saying Nils Höglander is gonna do the Brock Boeser, Connor Garland thing, but when Connor Garland was really struggling, everybody was like, "Oh, get rid of him, just get the cap space." Same thing with Brock Boeser. Oh, just take the cap space. And guess what? They held on. They figured it out, and now, was that the right move, or should they have paid sweeteners to get off those contracts?
Fair enough. Hey, I don't think you're paying a sweetener for Nils Höglander. That's the thing that I'm trying to say. He's still, and I get it. He has 0 trade value, but he doesn't have negative trade value. He's got low trade value, but it's not you want to take Nils Höglander? You're gonna have to pay up for that. It's not Ilya Mikheyev.
For sure.
It's not that.
But it's just the way you framed it was holding on to him isn't an option. I mean, it is an option, yeah. Why would it not be an option?
Because I don't think he's gonna figure it out here. I really don't.
And maybe he doesn't. But if he has no value right now,
so if you hang on to him,
what do you hurt? Okay, what hurt? How does it hurt you to hang on to him until closer to the deadline to see if he can bounce back?
Okay, well, we're talking. Okay, closer to the deadline is fine. I'm talking the end of this year. You can't hold him through the deadline. I'm saying he has to go. He has to be out of Vancouver. I don't care if you wait till February to do it. I'm saying it's over. To me, it's over. There's no figuring this out. There's no world in my mind.
Beyond this season is
even if he bounces back, where they're like, oh, okay. Thank God, that was just a hiccup. We can keep him for these 3 years that we've signed him to. I don't think there's any scenario where that happens. If he starts playing better, I think you look at it and say, oh, thank God, maybe this will put teams off the scent that we need to get rid of this guy. They got to get rid of him at that point.
That's fair.
That's what I'm saying.
My point was this idea that, you got to get rid of him right now. I agree with you that beyond this season,
It's not going to work.
I don't
here's
think
the thing,
it's-
Harm. If
it's
this
gonna work
happens
out with him.
again, and he's at $3 million, and now you have this season and another season where this is happening in Vancouver, that's when you start to get into that territory of negative trade value that we just talked about. I don't think he's negative trade value right now, but the longer this goes on, and certainly if it goes on for another season, then you're in that territory of negative trade value. I think we spent enough time on Nils Hoglander.